Hello and welcome back to the box office, guys. We have another episode for you guys today. This one presents Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos. We're ending the year strong, coming off back-to-back weeks with great fights. Last week was Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford. The week prior to that, Jaime Munguia versus Gabe Rosado. Looking at this week, Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos. It is on paper showing that Teofimo Lopez is a huge Vegas favorite. He's currently sitting at a minus 1,000, meaning you bet $1,000 and if he wins, you win 100 back. George Kambosos is a huge underdog for this fight. He's sitting at a plus 650, which is similar around to where Sean Porter was sitting at the beginning of the night. You bet $100. If he wins, you get $650 in return. Big underdog right there. Now, let's take a look at George Kambosos a little bit. As I mentioned, he's the plus 650 underdog. He's from Sydney, Australia. He is currently 19-0. 10 of those wins coming by the way of knockout. Keep in mind, he is 5'9.5", and he has a 60-inch reach. His last fight was against Lee Selby, and it was a split decision victory. Now, what I do see on his resume is that he lacks a little bit of star power and experience at the level that Teofimo has. Lee Selby being his last fight. Mickey Bay, who was sitting at 23 wins, he won that one by split decision also. So as I mentioned, he does lack high-level opposition, but he's in here with Teofimo, and this might be the fight, if he were to win, to propel him into stardom. He's sitting at a 650 money line, meaning he wins any way, shape, or form. You bet 100, you get 650 back. If you were to bet that he's going to win by KO, that's sitting around a 900, a plus 900, meaning you bet 100 and then the sportsbook rewards you with $900 back if he were to pull that upset out. By decision, plus $1,200. Even Vegas thinks that if this were to happen, a massive upset were to happen, it's going to be by knockout. And this could be because one of two reasons. They think that, puncher's chance and it is boxing, anything can happen. And just finding that consistency for 12 rounds of being someone of the caliber of Teofimo is unlikely. And if it were to happen, knockout is the way to go. Teofimo, on the other hand, the Vegas favorite, the minus 1,000 favorite, meaning there's absolutely there's very little value. Let's leave it at that. You bet $1,000. If he wins, you get $100 back in return. He's sitting at 16-0. 12 of those wins coming by the way of knockout. He is 5'8", and he actually has a 68.5-inch reach. He has a half-inch reach on Kambosos. His last opponent was Vasily Lomachenko, where he went in there and, the takeover happened as they laid it out. Prior to that, he fought Richard Kame. He won that bout by TKO. And before that, Masayoshi Nakatina by decision. A tough fight. Nakatina is always here to fight. He's kind of like Sean Porter. He's going to be in every fight that he's in. But he came up short, and Teofimo Lopez went in and got a unanimous decision. The reason this fight is happening so late in the year is because he's had issues with Top Rank, Teofimo, that is. He had that issue with Top Rank where the fight went up for bid. Triller was going to promote it. Something happened along those lines where it got delayed again. Then it went up to bid for Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn on DAZN said that he'll gladly promote it. Now the fight is happening on DAZN, which, may I add, we can all enjoy now. So, Teofimo Lopez minus 1,000 money line, little value. But if you want to find a little bit more value for this bout, you want to look at the knockout and decision line. Minus 225 by KO. So if you think Teofimo's going to win by KO, you can find a little bit more value. You still have to bet $225, but if he manages to win by KO, you'll get $100 back. That's a fraction of a minus 1,000 where you have to bet $1,000. So there's a little bit of value on that. Now, where the value really is in this bout for Teofimo is if you think he's going to win, but he's going to win by decision. You think he's going to win by decision, that is a plus 260. Meaning you bet $100 and then you win $260 if he were to win by decision. Note and emphasis on that decision. Okay, because he is a high-level fighter, and even Vegas thinks at this point that he's going to win by knockout. Vegas has been wrong before, as they thought Jaime Munguia was going to win by knockout. Quite frankly, I did too, but that's why they fight, right? Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look at the keys of victory for the Vegas underdog, George Kambosos. So sitting at a plus 650, first things first, from what I've seen, you need to be first. Okay, meaning you have to shoot your jab first. You have to start your offense off first. You are known as a sparring partner. You're giving high-level opponents good sparring, but you can't get caught up in that sparring partner's mentality where you can kind of sit there and wait because you're just getting the opponent work. No, you have to be first. You have to press Teofimo Lopez, who hasn't fought in a very long time. I believe it's been over a year. So press the issue. Be first in your attack. Get your punches off and start getting into the rhythm of your offense first. Step number 2 is going to be stay tight on defense. Against Lee Selby, and if you go back and watch that fight, a lot of the times he throws out that jab and that hand goes straight back down instead of coming back up for what's to come. You do that against someone at the caliber of Teofimo Lopez, chances are you might get a punch or two returned, right? So stay nice and tight on your on the defensive end. Don't go straight back, and then don't catch everything. You're not sparring. I know a lot of your experience has come through sparring, considering you've had 19 fights. Just keep it nice and tight, hands up, slip, dip, and don't catch everything, okay? Keep your guard up high and avoid getting caught with a silly punch that could have easily been blocked or dipped, okay? Number 3. Throw punches in bunches. Don't throw one punch at a time. I've seen some of your highlights, and not that you like to sit and admire your work, but sometimes it costs you to throw punches in bunches. So if it's going to cost you, you might as well make it worth it, right? Throw punches in bunches. Don't let Teofimo get his shots off. And while you're doing that, go to the body and mix up your offense. You do those 3 things, it's very difficult with limited, I guess you could say, experience. So you kind of have to go off with what you've seen before. And throwing punches in bunches is going to be key, because when Lomachenko had success against Teofimo was when he was throwing more than one punch. I'm not saying you have the skill level of Lomachenko. Quite frankly, no one does, if I'm being truthfully honest. But what we can do is we can take bits and pieces of that puzzle and try to add a little bit to your game. Add a little bit of that. Throw punches in bunches and really catch Teofimo with the end of the combination if he's slipping or catching 1 or 2 punches, and really surprise him with your attack. So you do those 3 things. Be first. Stay tight with your defense and throw punches in bunches, and you're going to put yourself in a better position to pull off a massive upset. We've had 3 fights in a row, 3 weeks in a row, where there's a big or huge underdog and no upset has happened yet. If you do these 3 things, you'll put yourself in a better position to potentially being an upset. And I say potentially because on the other end of the spectrum, we have Teofimo Lopez, the king of the division, right? His keys of victory are going to look a little different than yours. Let's get to it. Key number 1 for Teofimo Lopez is going to be work off your jab. You need to shake off the cobwebs of not fighting for so long, right? So what better way to set up your offense with that jab? Use it, and use it frequently. Don't lunge reaching for right hands or lunging in for left hooks. Set everything up with the jab. How long has it been since you last had a fight, right? This whole ordeal with Triller, with Top Rank, now the zone, finally getting you situated. Use that jab. Knock the cobwebs off, and then let that open up the rest of your game. Step number 2. cut the ring off. Don't chase. This is going to be a lot easier considering you just faced Vasily Lomachenko. You were trying to press him very much so for the greatest portion of that fight. And doing so, you got a lot of experience on how to cut off the ring. So don't chase Kambosos, who's going to try to box and kind of fare with your offense and try to negate that off the jab and footwork. Cut the ring off. If you see him going to the right, to your right, beat him to the spot and stay in range to always attack. If you stay in that range with your jab and you're working off your jab, and you can always touch him with that jab, remember you have that 2-inch reach advantage. If you can keep yourself at distance with that jab, and then cut the ring off. So when he tries to exit out or pivot out, you're still in front of him and you can touch him with that jab and open up the rest of your offensive repertoire. You're going to go ahead and put a lot of pressure on a fighter we don't know a lot about. So cut the ring off. Use that feet work. Don't chase. And step number 3, be patient. I know it's been a long time coming. I know you're cracking your knuckles. You're going back and forth, ready to fight. How long has it been since you had that fight, since this fight got announced, and you haven't been able to air out your frustration? Well, don't bring more frustration into this. Be patient. Don't look for one punch. Set everything up with your jab and stay consistent with your game plan. Attack the head, attack the body, and later in the fight, take those bigger risks. Once you've knocked the cobwebs out and you've kind of settled into your own. We don't know what's going to happen with Kambosos or with Teofimo. Such a long layoff. You don't know if those punches are going to be thudding, if they're going to be sharp, or if they're going to be more pushes. These guys are professionals, so I do expect some high quality boxing. But you would like to get some rounds in, work off the jab, cut the ring off, be patient, and put yourself and set yourself in a position where you can take a Kambosos into uncharted territory, somewhere he's never been before, and then have your way with them. As they say, class tells over time. And I think this is it's going to show. Class tells over time, and it'll show this bout. And with that saying of class tells over time, my prediction is that Teofimo should be able to win this fight. He should be able to handle Kambosos. And from what I've seen, it's just levels to this fight game. Kambosos, there's a lot of uncertainty on him, and he might rise to the occasion. This is no knock on Kambosos. He earned this right to fight Teofimo. He's there. He's a live opponent. He's had a lot of time to train. But if you're looking at the resume, Teofimo, specifically that Lomachenko fight, I think gained a lot. So I believe he's going to win this bout. So there's not a lot of value. I might sprinkle a little something on the knockout just because I feel like he should be able to get him out. Might do round betting. Might find some luck with that. But at the end of the day, Teofimo should prove to be too much for George Kambosos and should be able to be en route for a bigger payday as we all want. A bigger fight, a bigger high-profile fight than George Kambosos. George Kambosos, on the other hand, gets propelled to the top of the food chain and would be taking in all comers if he were to pull off the upset. But nonetheless, there you have it. Teofimo Lopez should win. Should be able to get the guy out, ideally. There's not enough value for me to go ahead and say, slam it, go to knockout, go to this. There's not enough value, specifically with his previous fighters. But there it is. I got Teofimo Lopez winning. He should win by knockout. And tune in next time. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We're going to look into more fights. We're going to start adding more features to this channel. And hopefully you guys can see the growth with me. All right, guys. Take care.